This is a snapshot, a moment, a sneak inside the minds of our graduates. This is Season 1, Class of 2020.
My name is Khalid Al-Saoud, and I studied politics, and I've graduated in 2020, so it's been a very exciting time. Because of this period of change that we're in now, I definitely feel it's very uncertain. It allowed me to really, or an opportunity, and I'm very fortunate about this, to think about what I want to do in the future. So, on one hand, I think I took advantage of this uncertainty to really think and to do things that I never would have thought if it was not basically COVID slash lockdown slash quarantine period. I think I would have rushed in to apply to graduate schemes. Whereas now I did an online internship, which was one of the things that was sent to me by the careers service. But this virtual internship was very special. It was an 8-week virtual internship, and I could work with any sector, public, private, or other education sector in Fiji. And it's an organization called Think Pacific, yeah. And it's meant to be in Fiji. Obviously, this time Fiji was in my laptop, and it was great. And learned so much about Fiji, and took this opportunity to learn about how I can help others. And they focus on the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and they help different sectors achieve that. So I took advantage of that. And then also, something that I never thought I would do at all is actually write or attempt to write articles to get published. And I think this really comes from the fact that I am trying as much as I can to do what I can during these times, before applying, whilst waiting actually for things to become more clear and more certain before I apply. And thinking about that is kind of nerve-wracking, because you don't know when it's going to be, or where it's going to be. But thinking about the future is still a bit, that's still very uncertain, is a bit nerve-wracking. But taking advantage of what I could take advantage of now, which I wouldn't have before, is very exciting. My time in university was really a opportunity to figure out exactly what I want to do. And I had no idea in the beginning. I changed my course multiple times. But the beauty of studying politics at Edinburgh is that there are so many courses you can choose. So I did, politics and economics, I did philosophy, I took so many different courses until I figured out what was right for me. And I'm very interested in urban development and town planning. And my dissertation was about that field. And so graduating at a time where I just figured out what I want to do, and having a period of uncertainty, really allowed me to think about, okay, how can I take this interest and find a career that suits it? And it allowed me time, basically. And I didn't feel under pressure or in a rush to find a career right away. First of all, personally, I enjoy going and visiting different places and different towns, and anywhere that's around Edinburgh, whenever I had time on the weekend with friends. And I decided one day to visit Dundee. I realized that there was some kind of construction work happening as soon as I left the station. So I decided to do more research and figured out that they were working on a city plan. And that's the first time that I came across such a thing. That allowed me to go back and see who are making these plans, and what is this field that people are working in. So I decided to write my dissertation on the city plan in Dundee. So you have people from the city council, you have people from the private sector, the third sector, and different organizations. And I emailed every person that I could, basically, to get, an idea of what was happening and how they come up with a plan that will change the shape of a city. People were so happy to respond. I think they were very excited that someone who isn't from Dundee is interested in what's happening in Dundee and their work. But generally, as well, I think people, when it comes to where they live, can be a bit skeptical of the work that's happening, especially from a local authority perspective. So I think the fact that they saw someone who was interested in their work, they really welcomed that and were happy to talk to me. Now, when I read about towns that have been built in a certain way or that promote a certain kind of lifestyle, which is what I'm very interested in, I go and visit. I mean, back home, I visited a tiny little town in the middle of Saudi Arabia called Ushaygar, and it's basically all mud houses, but preserved very well. And it has really good drainage systems, and especially for the time, I think arguably much better than the ones in modern cities now. So we can learn a lot from the different places we visit, definitely. I think looking back, I think that I was someone who kind of modeled my interests based on the people around me. Whereas in university, not just studying what I studied, but I think living in Edinburgh specifically allowed me to really find my own passion and interests. And the reason why I say specifically living in Edinburgh is because Edinburgh is such a condensed city, but a city full of variety.
We also ask our graduates to share a place, somewhere special, somewhere we can get together when all this is finished.
Okay, so for me, the place would actually be in front of the new Register House in Edinburgh. And it's on the east end of Princess Street. And there's the reason for that is because Edinburgh is such a condensed city, but it's a city full of variety. And I think that specific point is, for me, the best point that combines so much variety, whether it's place or people. And I would walk past there every single day back and forth to university. You're in the new town. In the distance, you have the old town, medieval old town. They're connected, different periods in time, different historical influences, whether it's architecture or stories or whatever is around you. On the far right hand side, if you're looking towards the old town, you have an extinct volcano. On the other side, you have another extinct volcano, and you have Calton Hill, of course. So that's a variety of landscape in terms of nature. In the very far left hand side, you have Leith with a very different history and different background socially and culturally, and much more recent, in terms of historical development. So you can take inspiration from so many different things and different angles in one zone. And in terms of people, of you're faced with, for example, in the morning, I would see different people going to work, or to university in so many different fields, and people from so many different backgrounds from so many different places. I would face tourists coming from all over the world. On the way back to university, in that specific point, I would see, maybe a street performance, and it would be different every day, or a demonstration, a protest. So, really, that point, every day I felt it would broaden my understanding about something or my inspiration about something. And I'm in one place, in one point. That played a big part in changing how I see things and how I look at things. And it's a very special place, I think.
Thank you for listening. Join us next time for another graduate and another story.
You're not on your own when it comes to planning for your future. Your University of Edinburgh community is here to support you, and this includes ongoing support for recent graduates from the Careers Service. Why not take a look at our website to find out more about how we can support you get the future that you want? Go to ed.ac.uk edinburgh.ac.uk/careers to get started.